Olivia. I work at Pure Vision Tattoo in Abbotsford, Melbourne. I've been tattooing for about 10 years now. I was about 16 and I went with a friend. His name's Charlie. Like, I watched him get tattooed. We were at school one afternoon. From that moment, I just thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I just knew I had to do it. And that was it. And he was really encouraging, my friend Charlie, and he sort of helped me like look at good artists. And a few years later, when I was 18, I moved to the city and I got an apprenticeship at Big Market Tattoo under Colin Gower. And he was really, really helpful. And I worked there for about 7 years and moved on to Pure Vision. My favourite tattooists are always the ones who have really diverse styles, so they can do maybe more than one style. I think for me personally, it helps with my growth as an artist and it pushes me. I generally am more drawn to colour, and I think that might have a lot to do with my age. And when I was getting into tattooing, colour and traditional was really popular, so I sort of was pushed into that side of things. And I think like colour, but I love doing black and grey as well. I love doing faces and portraity stuff, like more detailed stuff. I don't get to do as much of it, but I do love to do it. With the whole side of inks and staying bolder for longer and standing the test of time, I think it's definitely different to, say when Sailor Jerry was tattooing. They were limited to a palette of black, blue, yellow, red. I think that was pretty much it. And now we've got such an array of colours. You've got so much options, so much trial and error as to brands that you like, labels that you want to use, and that takes years and years to figure out. I'm always really conscious of like size of tattoos, and particularly recently I've really thought about it. I'm like, I want my tattoos to look good for a long time, and sometimes it can be hard with what a person requests. If they don't really want like a black outline, that sort of stuff seems like it can age a bit quicker, depending on who did it, of course. But I'm always trying to be really aware of how to make something look good and last. It's like I never stop learning with tattooing, which is probably the coolest thing about it. Having social media like Instagram is really good to see new artists who you may have never known of, and you can just see what they're doing, look through their folio really quickly, and there's so many good tattooists, so many. I think Melbourne in the scene of tattooing is really big. I think a lot of artists interstate, they move to Melbourne due to, I think, it just being really good for clientele, and it's full on. Like, there's so many shops now, and there's so many people who, when I started, there obviously weren't as many tattooists, and now I see somebody who's been tattooing maybe for like 1 year or even 2 years, and I look back on when I was tattooing for that long and I was terrible. So that it's like, I think because there's more access to tattoos and it's more saturated in society, people are just better quicker, as like a lot of artists are. So it's amazing. I think, Melbourne's a good scene. All I care about is being true to myself, and the most true thing that I've ever done is getting into tattooing, because I knew that I just wanted to do it because I loved the thought of art on skin. That to me is the most amazing medium of art above anything else. I have a really amazing clientele, and I feel like for me, I love to build a rapport with them, get to know them, get to know what they want, why they want it, what their taste is, and I feel like we can work really well as a team. And just being nice to people and just being real, I hate it when people are arrogant or unapproachable. So I play in Little Lamb and the Rosemaries, which is a grotty punk kind of band. We're a 4-piece. We've got 3 girls, including myself, and 1 guy in the band. So I love that. I'm all about women in music and women in art. So for me, being a female tattooist is really, really great. I'm really inspired by all the other girls, and I love it. There's a lot more women doing it now, which is amazing. same with music. So for me, they really coincide. I like to break down the gender stereotypes, and I think a woman tattooing and a woman playing music is something that does it. Ever since I wanted to be a tattooist, I also wanted to be in a band. So, me doing both is pretty nuts. It's pretty busy, but I think it's really healthy for me, because when you're a tattooist, it's easy to get really lost in just being identified as being a tattooist. But with my band, I can go into a room, close the doors, jam with my band, and I'm just an idiot in a band and having a laugh at myself. And I think that's really important, especially with tattooing, because you're so committed to it pretty much every hour of the day. I think it's really important to have that release, whatever it might be. But for me, it's music. So I think if you want something as much as I've always wanted to do this, you always got to put yourself at the bottom and make yourself work harder. And being in a band at the same time as being a full-time tattoo artist is a lot. Like, I definitely have my months where I'm like, oh my, can't believe I've got a couple of shows and I'm working full-time. But I just find a way to make it work. I mean, I draw every night after work, and I draw on my days off as well. I try to give myself maybe one day off to try to not draw, but I usually find myself trying to catch up on things. Maybe eventually I'll try to cut back my tattooing days to 4 days a week instead of 5, but for now I've got the energy to do it, so happy to keep doing it.